You think you're making your own choices, but you're actually a slave to the chemical storm inside your brain. Every time you hesitate out of fear or rush into a decision out of anger, you lose. Not because the outcome was bad, but because you weren't the one who chose it. A hormone did, a memory did, a flinch did. It's time to stop letting fleeting impulses drive your life off a cliff. Today, we are stripping away the emotional noise to build a Stoic blueprint for absolute unwavering clarity. Here's the part nobody tells you. The feeling always arrives before the thought. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, reacts to a threat in about 1/5 of a second. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that actually reasons, weighs consequences, and makes decisions you'd stand behind, that takes several seconds longer to catch up. So for that brief window, you're not choosing anything, you're being driven. And most people never notice the handoff. They just feel the fear, or the anger, or the craving, and call it instinct, and they call it just being honest with themselves. But an unexamined emotion isn't honesty, it's autopilot. Think about the last time you fired off a text you regretted the moment you hit send, or said yes to something out of guilt, then spent the whole week resenting it, or stayed quiet in a meeting because your chest went tight, and the idea that could have changed everything died in your throat. None of those were decisions. They were reactions wearing a decision's clothes. And the cost compounds. Every reactive choice trains your brain to keep reacting. The pathway gets faster, more automatic, more convincing, until "that's just who I am" becomes the story you tell about a habit you never actually chose. The ancient Stoics saw this over 2,000 years ago without a single brain scan. They just called it what it is, being ruled by pathos, the passions. And they built an entire philosophy around one radical claim. You are not your emotions. You are the thing that notices them. So here's the blueprint. Not a mood, a method. First, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus opened his handbook, the Enchiridion, with this line. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Your reputation, other people's opinions, the outcome of the job interview, the traffic, the diagnosis, not up to you. Your judgment, your effort, your response, your next action, entirely up to you. Almost every emotional hijack happens because you've quietly assigned control to something that was never yours to control. Anxiety about a decision you haven't made yet is your mind trying to control the future. Rage at someone else's behavior is your mind trying to control another person. The moment you ask, "Is this actually mine to decide?" the storm loses half its power because you've stopped fighting something you were never going to win. Second, the ruling faculty, your hegemonicon. The Stoics believed you have an inner citadel, a command center that no outside event can enter without your permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote it to himself as emperor in the middle of war and plague. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This isn't denial. The Stoics weren't telling you to feel nothing. They were telling you that between the event and your reaction sits a gap. And in that gap lives your entire freedom. Fear arrives, anger arrives, desire arrives. Fine. They're information, they are not orders. Third, the view from above. When a decision feels enormous, when your chest is tight and your thoughts are sprinting, the Stoics practice literally zooming out. Picture yourself from a great height. Your body, your room, your city, your continent, shrinking below you. Marcus called this seeing things from above. It sounds almost mystical, but it's mechanically simple. It's a deliberate switch from your threat detection system to your reasoning system. The bigger the frame you view a problem from, the smaller the emotional charge becomes. 3 moves. Ask what's actually yours to control. Find the gap between the event and your response. Zoom out before you decide. That's not a mood. That's a method. And methods can be practiced. Philosophy that stays in your head is just decoration. So let's make this usable starting today. Tool 1. The 10-second pause. Before any decision made under emotional heat, and the reply, the resignation, the confrontation, count to 10. Slowly. On purpose. This isn't a trick. It's giving your prefrontal cortex the literal seconds it needs to come back online and outvote the amygdala. Seneca advised the same thing 2,000 years before neuroscience explained why it worked. Never trust anger's first draft. Tool 2, name it to tame it. The instant you feel the spike, say the emotion out loud or in your head specifically. Not, I feel bad. Try, I'm feeling humiliated because I was interrupted. Studies on affect labeling show that naming an emotion, this precisely measurably lowers activity in the amygdala. You're moving the experience from your reactive brain into your reasoning brain just by describing it accurately. Tool 3, the control audit. Before you decide anything that matters, draw a line down a page. On one side, what's in my control? On the other, what isn't? Your effort, your honesty, your next action. Column 1. Their reaction, the outcome, the timeline. Column 2. Then act only on column 1. This single habit, practiced consistently, is the fastest route to the kind of calm that looks like confidence from the outside. Tool 4, premeditatio malorum. Premeditate the setback. Before a hard decision, spend 2 minutes imagining it going wrong, not to spiral or to inoculate. What's the actual worst realistic outcome? Can you survive it? Almost always, yes. The Stoics use this deliberately because a mind that has already met the worst case in imagination doesn't panic when it shows up in reality. Fear shrinks the moment you've looked directly at it. Use these in order, and here's what happens. The pause gives you time. The naming gives you distance. The audit gives you a target. The premeditation gives you courage. Combined, they turn a 5-second reactive spiral into a 5-minute deliberate choice, and that 5 minutes is the entire difference between a life that happens to you and a life you actually built. None of this means becoming cold. It means becoming clear. The goal was never to stop feeling fear before a hard conversation, or anger at real injustice, or grief at real loss. The goal is to stop letting those feelings write checks your future self has to cash. Every time you pause instead of react, you're not suppressing anything. You're doing something much harder and much rarer. You're choosing. And a chosen life, even with the exact same outcomes as a reactive one, feels entirely different to live. It feels like yours. The Stoics weren't trying to feel less. They were trying to be the ones home when a decision needed to be made, instead of leaving the house to whatever chemical happened to walk through the door first. You already have the inner citadel. Most people just never learn they're allowed to live inside it. So the next time your chest tightens or your jaw clenches or the urge to answer right now hits you, pause. Name it, ask what's actually yours to control. Then, and only then, choose. That's not weakness. That's the entire discipline the Stoics built an empire's worth of wisdom around. Remember, think more deeply. Live more intentionally. Repeat the process for a lifetime of growth. Because personal transformation doesn't happen through a single insight. It happens through continuous reflection, conscious action, and the courage to keep learning what it means to be human. If you're seeking wisdom, inner growth, emotional resilience, and practical tools for living a more examined and meaningful life, you're in the right place. Think deeply. Live wisely. Repeat endlessly.